Well, hello and welcome to another episode of the Photography Pubcast. This is season 4, episode 10. I can't believe it. There's 7 of us here. What's going on?
What's going crowded on in this pub tonight?
Sometimes we struggle to get 4, and now we've got a full house.
This is very strange. Very, very strange. It's going to annoy one viewer, I think, and it's going to make another viewer a little bit more pleased. Because we had one guy, I know we're going on to onto the comments quite quickly, but I just thought I'd drop this one in. Somebody said, oh God, Nissy, now I've got to find the bloody thing. Can't remember who it was, but somebody said that they're annoyed because the Pubcast logo in the bottom right-hand corner covers Stuart's face when he's talking. Well, that may not happen this time round because I think we'll have 4.
It's probably not a bad thing.
Well, yeah. But somebody else said that, could I please go in the middle at the top because it's messing with their OCD? But there's 4 of us, so there isn't a middle at the top now.
Oh.
So, you know, some you win, some you lose, I guess. Sorry about that. How are we all anyway?
All right.
Good.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay.
Yeah. Anybody done anything exciting this week that they want to share with the group? Sounds like rehab.
No.
I went to York last weekend and then had an operation on Monday. So that was all right. Bittersweet, I suppose.
Which bit was the worst bit?
What bit was the worst? The operation. York was great.
Yeah.
I told you on the podcast a little while ago, I went there in December. And it was just, I just can't believe I've never been there before. So it was so busy in December because the lead up to the Christmas market the Christmas market was on leading up to Christmas, and it was just heaving with people. So we went back in January, and it was still busy, but a nice kind of pace, you know. So yeah, it was a great weekend. So again, I know I recommended it before. If anyone's looking for a weekend getaway, go to York. You won't be disappointed.
I think we could do like a monthly feature of what Daz did in York this month.
Yeah.
Can't we? Because it seems like every month recently you've had a York experience that you want to share. Did you go anywhere different this year or this month?
Well, we had
Actually,
it was quite honestly, there's a lady called Sarah. We had a walking tour with her for an hour and a half in December, and I booked her privately just for me and Helen. It was a 4-hour walking tour. She was so good. She really was. And I just think, how did people just remember all of this stuff? All of these facts and history, and it's just I was in awe of her knowledge of York and history in general. So I'll give you a phone number.
Do you get it half price? Do you get it half price if you?
Do you know what? I did get it half price actually. She said because it was out of season, it should have been 240 quid, and it was £120, which I didn't think was too bad.
Is there a walking season?
Out of season.
No, but is there a walking season for it to be in? Oh no, sorry, we're out of walking season. Oh,
no, but it's a bit. There's not as many people. It's a bit chilly.
Oh, I see. I got you. Anyone else been up to anything exciting?
I did something vaguely interesting. I wouldn't call it exciting yet.
Okay.
What's that noise?
It's my electrician.
Adam.
Just ignore
Oh, right. I keep looking at Dave's face and I keep thinking he's doing something.
It's usually me, to be fair.
See, the thing is, this is the most expensive office ever because I have the whole house. The whole house is being under construction, but I have this little space here that looks like it's some kind of normalcy when in fact it's just a huge mess. We don't have a kitchen, we don't have a bedroom, so if you hear banging, just ignore it.
Yeah, I just saw Dave's face grinning and I thought, is he doing that? I don't
I thought it was Jamie again under the table.
My wobbling. There you go.
Same time every week. So what's this semi-exciting, non-exciting thing you did then, Stuart?
Yeah, before Christmas, I ran into Daz actually when he was up in the lakes, and we nipped out for a coffee, and I was showing him a new, potentially new gallery space that I'm potentially looking at moving into. And I've been back there a couple of times since then, and I'm weighing up a lot of different options and stuff, but basically looking at potentially sort of upscaling. So I'm in the process of putting a tenancy application in and trying to get the sort of wheels turning with that. But there's no guarantees or anything yet, so it'll become an exciting thing when it's actually concrete. But yeah, at the minute I'm looking potentially at moving my gallery.
Yeah, 'cause that place you're in right now looks tiny.
It is, yeah. It's
Yeah.
I mean, there'll be probably a few people watching this that have been in my shop, and it's a great location in that I'm right next to the kind of the biggest outdoor clothing shop in the town. But I'm starting to after sort of, what am I now? Be 6 years in the summer. I'm starting to kind of hit the ceiling of how much revenue I can generate in that shop, because the thing that's always going to kind of be a problem for me is the wall space. Basically, I'm running into issues with not being able to kind of put new work up as much as I'd like to, because there's a risk that it might not sell as well as some of the stuff that sells well consistently. So yeah, I'm looking at a few things basically, but yeah, fingers crossed. Hopefully, I'll be in a new place in the summer.
When you said hit the
Nice.
ceiling, I
Nice.
thought you meant literally hit the ceiling.
Literally hit the sea, yeah. Yeah, if you're 6 foot and over in my shop, if you've been in it, you'll know the problems basically. But yeah, it's a lovely space, and if I ended up staying there, I certainly wouldn't be complaining. But it's just I've kind of outgrown it a little bit. But yeah,
Do you know I've never been in your shop, Stu. Never
He's
been.
never open. I've
never-
tried.
Exactly. Been to your shop twice. Been shot both
I know.
times. Out. Gone fishing or gone photographing. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, the problem is the kind of the peak period for photographers to come to the Lake District, which is obviously autumn and winter, is my quietest period when I'm actually open, because I'm out doing my own shooting and workshop tours and stuff like that. And the gallery is very much a kind of sideline through the off season, so I'm only in there like sort of fairly sporadically. And if you're a photographer coming through and you're like, oh, I come to the shop and you weren't there, that's why. In the summer I'm there 5 days a week, sometimes 6 days a week for the best part of 4 or 5 months. So it's I do a lot of work through that period, and then after kind of September, October, that's when I kind of take time off from it. So yeah, no surprise you haven't seen it.
Yeah, fair enough. What about you, Dave? You been up to anything exciting?
Not really. I've had a busy week though, because Olympus or OM System announced the new OM1 Mark II.
Oh yeah.
So I've had about 500 bloody emails saying, "What do you think?" Now, people don't seem to know that I'm not an ambassador. I haven't had my hands on one. What the hell do I know? So yeah, I've almost got a boilerplate reply now saying, "Don't waste your money."
Is it an upgrade, Dave? I mean, I know you don't have one, but have you looked into it? Is it
Yeah,
much of an upgrade?
I sort of had to in order to say something sensible in reply to some of these. But to be honest, there's not really much that a firmware update to the original couldn't handle, if I'm honest. So yeah, it's I certainly won't be upgrading. When I had the EM1, I had the Mark II, and I never bothered with the Mark III or the X. I'd give it sort of 4 or 5 years until it's a proper jump in spec.
And are you feeling better?
Oh yeah,
Because apparently you were green and yellow, and jaundice.
yeah. Well, the trouble
last
is
week.
that I can muck about in post with my white balance when I'm recording, and I was using my G7 last week. So I've gone back to the little Sony RX100 Mark VII, which it's got much better color science than a 10-year-old Panasonic pile of shit.
Well, it's good to know you're looking and feeling better.
Dave,
Yeah.
that OM camera that's come out, the digital grad thing that's in it, which looks pretty clever. Was that in the last one?
No. What they've done is
that
they've added.
That looks really clever, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean they've added one stop to the flat NDs, internal camera NDs, but the problem is when you get to that level of ND, it starts to look quite digital. It can't emulate what you can do with glass. But with the Grad, from what I've seen, it's quite a harsh transition. Right. And when I use a glass Grad, it's really, really soft.
Can you move it around though in the camera?
Yes.
Can you,
you can slide it up and down, and you can rotate it.
Well, that's pretty clever.
It is absolutely. But the problem for me is that I always carry my filters anyway, because I might have the OM5 on me or the EPL, in which case, I still need glass. So there's no benefit to me in upgrading just for that. Now, I mean, if you're moving to Olympus or you're upgrading from an EM, then it's great. Bit pricey for a Micro Four Thirds, £2,200. They're trying to bundle it with a 100 to 400 lens, and that it's not a good bundle, if I'm honest, because that's quite a specialist lens. You'd be far better off with something more standard.
There's a new lens out as well, isn't there?
There's a non-pro 150 to 600 IPX1 weather sealing, sort of quite a bit of polycarbonate dotted around on it. However,
it's just a Sigma lens,
still,
isn't it?
Yeah, by all accounts, but
it's
it
a
is
full-frame
minuscule
Sigma.
Compared to the sort of thing that you were lugging around, Gary, when we were in Glencoe, because it looked like you were about to take out a Russian tank with that thing.
I mean, and I felt it lugging it around as well. So it's no fun. So is it that size? Is it that big?
No, this is the thing. The Olympus is about the size of their 40 to 150. It's not big at all. It's heavy.
Okay.
Apparently it weighs 2.4 kilos, but its dimensions aren't big.
I poo more than that thing.
Wow, that's really heavy. The camera, that is.
Yes. What about you, Sam? You been up to anything exciting?
No, I haven't actually done anything much this week. I think the weather was a bit rubbish at the weekend. I don't think I went out. I might have gone out and finished shooting a roll of film, so I can send that off to get developed. But no, I've not really been up to much. Been spending lots of money on trying to get my car fixed, which has been a bit miserable. But other than that, no photography. But actually, whilst we're following on from Dave, I did want to give a shout out for Dave's video that he put out, which I thought was
very good,
really, really excellent. So one of the things I was going to heap some praise on that, Dave. But in addition to the fact that obviously it was a very sort of personal video that you put, but for me it really kind of demonstrated the kind of deeper level of what photography is for us, aside from the normal sort of just going out and taking photos and the things which you normally see in YouTube videos. For me, that was one of the few videos which has captured that sort of element of how important photography is for forming memories and reminding you of times that you've spent with people. So I just wanted to give that a quick shout out because it was excellent.
Yeah, good shout.
Cheers. Thanks a lot, Sam.
Well said, Sam. Well said. Jamie?
No, mate, no, nothing exciting for me. No, as I said to you guys earlier on, I had a bit of a man flu episode on Wednesday night that thankfully seems to have disappeared. But nothing. I'm a bit like Sam, spending money on cars this week. The wife's car's just gone through a service, so that's another 300 and some odd quid that I won't see again. But nothing exciting, mate. But looking forward to getting out in the morning. But the good thing is that this will go out on Sunday, so anybody that watches this will have already been out. So a bit late for anybody that wanted to join us.
We will have been, and it was great. We had a great time. Yeah. The pub we went to was a bit dodgy, but we had other than that,
It was a company, wasn't it?
We had a really good time. Yeah. It's all about the company. And now we've managed to go around everyone. We haven't got any time for anything else. So thanks ever so much,
guys.
For
bye.
And we'll see you all next week. Only 7 of us. What's going on?
I thought that was a bit meh.
Right. So Well, we can be that sometimes, Sam. We can all be a bit meh sometimes. But you know, moving on, we won't mention that. Let's go on to the comments. Actually, I wonder if there are any interesting comments. So I found the names of the two people while you guys were all talking. So if I looked like I was a little bit sort of distracted, I was searching through the comments. Russell Sprout mentioned. I don't think that's his real surname. Mentioned a bit like Kevin YouTube. Mentioned what did he mention about me being in the centre? And Alan Thomas was the one who was unhappy about Stuart's face. Not in that way, Stuart. His face is lovely, but you know,
it's all right. I'm unhappy with it
about
most of the time. So it's, you know,
and happy about the logo
just part of my
being
life.
placed over it. So Russell, I'm sorry, but unfortunately, I'm not going to be in the middle. But I'll try and do it from now on. And Alan, great news because the logo won't be over Stuart today, so you'll get a full view, which you must be really happy about. What other comments do we have? We had a nice one from Darren because we answered Darren's question, didn't we? And he said he agrees with the answer to the question, thinks that Dave summed it up quite well, as did I with an exclamation mark. So it's probably a bit of a shock to him. I know I do get things right occasionally.
He was just echoing what I said.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think you went first, didn't you? So
yeah.
I just sort of changed it into more layman's terms for the thick ones listening and put it out there. Simon Burns says, best episode to date.
Wow.
So
he hasn't seen many by all accounts.
Have you watched many? Have you watched many, Simon? Have you only been watching the really bad ones? Colin Traveller says, you take picks that make you happy. You don't take picks, in caps, to make others happy. Very true. Very true, Colin. Thank you. Neil says it was great to see Dave and Adam back this week. So it says what he thinks about the rest of us there. Thanks for that.
Cheers,
Neil.
mate. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Neil.
A man of true discernment.
Chris Hunt loved Adam's apple. He said he loved your apple.
Oh, wonderful.
And there were so many more which we could go on to, but I'm just scrolling down, and yeah, they were just the top ones that I picked in haste again this week. So I'm very sorry, but I thought I'd do a better job than last week, which was not answer any of them. Right, shall we move on to a topic? Shall we? Now, I was actually going to do a little quiz, but I changed my mind because there was going to be guess the year involved, and I know how much Jamie hates that, so I decided against it. Jamie,
thank you.
I am going to do one though. I'm definitely going to do another year-related thing at some point.
As long as it's not music
also
related in that year, because it is quite funny. I'll tell you a story. Where were we coming back from? Was it Wales or something? Wherever we've been out, and I drove.
Yeah. We were listening to Absolute Radio.
Well, yeah, we had Absolute Radio on, and obviously when you've got DAB or digital radio in the car, it comes up with the description of what's playing, wasn't it? So we played a game, and the fool in me challenged Gary to guess the tune or get the name of the tune first. Whoever guessed it first, that was a little competition, and of course Gary won nearly all of them. And I was trying to read them as they come out on the DAB readout as quickly as I could to try and get in there before him, but even that didn't work. He still got there before me. So yeah, your music knowledge is far more superior than mine. Apart from if it's Cotton Eye Joe.
You literally only know Cotton Eye Joe and Cheeky
That's
Girls.
it. That's the extent of my repertoire. Yeah.
And classic 1960s madness.
60s.
That's it. That's all you know. So, but we will do one. And there's a question here, apparently. We've got a list of questions that we're going to answer tonight, list of topics. And there's one that Jamie says he's really not looking forward to, but he hasn't told us which one it is. So I'm just going to, I think I can guess. It's going to be one of the non-photography ones, but we'll see. Let's start with a non-photography question anyway, Jamie, shall we?
Oh, hang on. What's going on
Should we
there?
do that?
Oh,
Where's Stuart gone?
Stuart's turned into...
Oh!
Stuart's it's double Adam.
There we go.
Hello.
I knocked the camera and it did that stupid bloody
Crikey,
swivel.
we've got David Blaine on
Turn
there.
around.
What's going on?
Sorry. Yeah, turn the face to screen. Sorry about
It's a good job you weren't watching anything else, Stuart. Could have been in trouble, couldn't you? Could really
close
have
the
been
browser
in trouble
windows down.
Yeah. click, 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 click. Right, okay. Let's move on to a question then. What have we got? Let's have a look. So, let's do a non-photography question because I know how much Jamie really loves
Will you
non-photography questions.
Put a sock in it.
I'm going to try and guess which one. I'm going to try and guess which one it is that he hates the most, that he doesn't want to answer. So, is it that one? Which one is it? Which one is it? I'm going to go for. If tomorrow was your last day before Armageddon, how would you spend it? That's what I'm going to go for. This one was one from Sam. So why don't you go first, Jamie?
No, because it's a stupid question, and it was the one. It is a daft question, isn't it? Come on. What I'm
It
Sam,
is a daft
with all due respect, I know you're a friend and all that, but it is a daft question.
Yeah.
If it's tomorrow's
is.
Armageddon, are you really going to be bothered what you do? You can be dead tomorrow, so what does it really matter what you do today? I'm sorry, it's just a daft question.
That's it's obviously the question because he's really triggered with that.
You're right. It is. That
He's
is
right
the
on the
one.
attack with Sam.
Yeah. I don't know. Listen, you guys fill your boots and talk about all the things that you do on your last day of your life, but for me, I just think it's a daft question. So sorry, I'm going to pass on it. Move on.
Yeah. Well, as soon as it is a daft question, shall I start in that case?
Yeah, go on, Sam.
Go on,
Yeah.
Sam.
Or we could just pass over the question, of course.
No, we need to give Jamie some time to think about his
Okay.
answer.
Come back to Jamie at the end.
Yeah, we'll come back to you, Jamie.
I fully admit, Jamie, it is a daft question. I'm sorry. I was just desperately trying to think of non-photography questions, and I couldn't think of any that didn't involve what was your favourite music in 1994. So, yeah, how would I spend my last day? I guess part of the thinking behind the question was it would be something other than photography, because I certainly wouldn't spend it doing photography, because there's no point if the day after nothing's going to exist. So yeah, I would spend it. I would go to I'd first of all spend it with Hannah, obviously, but I would also But there's a few places within a day's drive of where I live which I would want to go to. One of them would be I'd drive up to Durness, which is where I grew up in the Northwest Highlands, and probably spend the day there. There's some beautiful beaches up there which I absolutely love, and that would probably be my go-to. And I'd probably climb a mountain on the way up, probably climb up Stack Polly because it doesn't take too long on the way up, and that's probably how I'd spend the day. Jamie, how about you?
That's really nice.
Sorry. No, I'm just eating my nuts. Carry on.
Spend the day stuffing his face with whatever.
He's really switched off, hasn't he, Jamie? Totally switched off.
Oh, well, I forgot we're doing a podcast. So I'm just enjoying my tea. Move on.
What's your favourite song of 1994, Jamie?
1994? I didn't know. It was far too late for me. Come on, it's not the Jamie show. Others have got to contribute to this. Come on.
All right, go on. Sorry. Dave, what would you do on your last day?
Well, it depends, doesn't it? Because you haven't specified what kind of Armageddon. I mean, if it's an instant obliteration, it would be different to if it was
it's slow, painful death.
Some zombies are going to turn up. Because if some zombies were going to turn up, I'd spend the day prepping. Exactly.
Yeah.
I'd be making ammunition. I'd probably shoot a couple of local sheep so that I could store them up and save me having to go out and try and shoot them later. I mean, it really does depend. If it was literally, okay, well, at a certain time within 24 hours, we all cease to exist, I'm not prepared to tell you what I'd be doing because it'd be a bit naughty.
What?
But put it this way, the lovely Mrs. G wouldn't see the Armageddon.
What would be your weapon of choice to kill a zombie with, Dave?
Probably something like a machete lashed to a long broom handle kind of thing, so you can take their head off at distance.
Oh, okay.
You don't want to get too close and personal with them. You don't want to try and shoot them because that doesn't work very well. You need to lop the head off quite quickly.
Yeah.
I've got
given this some
a
thought.
machete. I've got a garden machete that I could lash to a big long stick and just...
You've thought about this.
I was
You've
going to
thought
say
about
that's
this,
what I
haven't
said.
you?
Yeah.
Well, it could happen, couldn't it?
Yeah,
I mean, who
it's
knows?
thought.
Do you know how hard it is to lop someone's head off?
I haven't tried myself. Tell us about it, Adam.
Pretty hard.
That'd have to be really one really sharp machete. You'd have to really sharpen it up.
Yeah.
Dave's got a big arsenal.
Well. God, that electrician's having fun,
Are
isn't it?
you, Dave? Are you one of these preppers? Do you have like a bunker in your garden?
I'm not. I'm not. But I have to say, and this is not a word of a lie, when there was talk of a strange virus coming out of southeastern China, I said to the lovely Mrs. G, stock up. Because we've got loads of barns and space, we stocked up. And including, it just happens, toilet rolls.
I was
Oh
going
my
to say
God.
toilet roll.
So you
We were
started it.
laughing all the way to the bathroom.
The grief I got over that, Dave. Honestly, I did a back garden thing, right? And what happens is every so often, our in-laws go to Costco and they buy us a load of kitchen rolls because they're really cheap from Costco. Yeah, you get these big sort of 12 packs of these kitchen rolls. And they were in my conservatory, and I did a back garden photography thing. And so I went, "Oh, look at you stockpiling toilet roll." And I was like, "It's not toilet roll, it's kitchen roll." And I wasn't stockpiling it. We just got a load from Costco, you cheeky bastard. Anyway, yeah.
What is it with the toilet roll anyway? I don't get it.
No, I
Well,
don't
we
think
had issues
anybody
over here.
understood it.
It
No,
keeps
but-
your hands
no,
clean.
Did over there, Adam? Did you not have these toilet roll shortages though during the
Oh yeah,
Because over here,
definitely.
I
I
remember
remember going to the grocery store and there was a guy and his wife in front of me. I'm not kidding. They spent, I think their bill was like $2,000. They had 2 or 3 carts full of stuff, and there's me with a couple of potatoes for tonight's dinner.
Yeah.
I was like, what the hell? But I don't know what they were thinking. But anyway, yeah, the toilet roll was a big thing.
Yeah, I
huge
don't know
over
what the
here.
toilet roll thing is. Maybe people have, I don't know.
People
But
were
maybe
fighting
the
over
first
it.
thing is
People just
first thing you
panicked,
think
don't
about
they?
when you think virus is I'm going to shit myself. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense, does it? I can't quite work it
I
out.
just
It's-
whacked my arse on the grass like a dog, just dragging itself along.
Yeah, but you've got lawns tended to by your greenkeepers
That's true.
and
Yeah.
your groundsmen, haven't you?
That would be quite a sight, actually.
It was difficult when you hit a molehill.
It was more difficult for the mole.
Oh, those blackberry brambles.
Those weren't actually molehills, Darren.
yeah.
Was they not?
Darren says toilet rolls. I don't have an issue with toilet rolls. I never stock them up. I just get my staff to do it for me. So I'm all right. Yeah. That was veered off topic. Anyway, who's next?
That's good.
Adam, what would you do in your last day on Earth? I'm gonna put something in here and say it is the last day, Dave. The world ends. It's not like zombie apocalypse. It's Armageddon.
Well, I would most definitely spend time with the loved ones. But if it was like a comet or a nuclear bomb, I'd probably climb the highest peak I could in the area. I mean, it'd be spectacular. It'd be quite the
Yeah,
finish.
it'd be a good way to go. Yeah,
I mean, it'd be quick.
yeah.
So just stand on some mountain and, sayonara.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
No one's going to nuke Vancouver Island. What would be the point of that?
Well, no, but they nuked Vancouver. I mean, Vancouver's not that far. It's only 30 kilometers away. So,
Oh, yeah, that'll take your skin off.
yeah, because it's a major port there. So they'd take that out for sure.
Yeah, that sting a bit.
See, we've got RAF Valley about 5 miles away, so I'd be fine. I'd just be like a sort of glowing skeleton kind of thing, like on threads.
I always thought if there was a nuclear war, the best place to live would be in the South, I would imagine, like South America or one of those areas.
I was going to say not south of England.
Well, no, because I mean, there's not. I mean, obviously there's countries down there, but there's no threats. There's no threats down there, is
No.
there?
No, but it's still South America, so it ain't all that. I'll take the apocalypse. Thank you very much.
I'd rather come across the zombies than the cartel. Yeah.
Well, you could live in, Chile or Argentina. I mean, they're great countries, Colombia, places in Colombia are really nice.
Well, you'd think
Venezuela, maybe not.
You'd think where I am would be okay, but actually I'm Northwest Highlands and I'm not that far from all the Trident bases, so I'm probably in one of the worst places.
Mm.
Yeah, you'd be right under some fallout, wouldn't you, Sam?
Yeah. Yep.
And the UK is so small. I memean,
I've got all of you beat because I am literally 2 miles from a nuclear plant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a quick death
You're
for
done
me.
for. You're done for.
Yeah.
What would you do? Stu?
Oh, just probably same boring stuff as everyone else. I mean, spend time with family, obviously. I think I'd probably try and get to some of the places locally that sort of, I guess, I enjoyed the most when I was a child, maybe, stuff like that. Visit, places I used to play rugby. I'd probably try and get around to golfing. Seriously, I would. It's a big part of my life. Well, it's literally just 100 yards out of my back garden, the golf course. So I'd probably try and get around to golfing if I could fit it in around the family, obviously. But nothing. I mean, Adam's.
Well, you don't have to worry about having a row, do you? I'm off to play golf. You'll get it when you get home. No, I won't.
Nope, absolutely no grief. I like Adam's idea though of getting up a mountain because I'm, pretty close to some big mountains. So I think if I could fit it in, get up top of Scawfell Pike or something, 1,000 meters up, and watch all our impending deaths.
Now you see, I thought about the mountains angle, but I figured that the summit of Arwydfa would still be like Piccadilly fucking Circus the day before Armageddon, so I wouldn't bother.
See, I also thought about the mountains, but then I realised it'd take me more than a day to get up there. So I'd probably get like quarter of the way up and it'd go off and I'd be like, oh, what was the point in that? I've missed the view and I'm knackered.
Yeah.
It's just totally pointless. What would you do, Daz?
Well, I've got this planned. I really have, because do you know what? And there's a part of me that's
plays one of us as
really looking forward to it if the news ever came. So I pictured it that there was going to be this huge comet hitting the Earth and everyone would be dead, right? So my last day on Earth, I'll take up smoking again. I wouldn't bother seeing any of my loved ones. I mean, I see them all the time. I've not seen 50 grams of Golden Virginia for about 5 years. So, and I was never allowed to smoke in the house. So I'd go up into the bedroom and I would just roll great
everywhere.
big cigarettes, and I'd just puff away all day long. So the bedroom was just this big cloud of smoke.
Maybe you could kill yourself before it happened.
So that's what I'm thinking. If it was going to happen, then it wouldn't matter, would it? I would just be up there and just like puffing away. And Els would be banging on the door. You can't smoke in the bedroom. It's like, you can. Just like that.
Well, I think I would go and find every person who's ever sent me a bad comment on YouTube and punch him in the face.
You haven't got long enough.
Yeah, I'd have to start a week before. I'd have to have a week's notice.
Your arm would fall off.
Week's notice of Armageddon, please. And then there's there might be an impending. Even if it was on the news and they said potentially there could be a comet in the next year, I'd be like, right, I'm off. Right, who's first? Who can I hit first? Yeah, so I think that's what I would do. Yeah, Jamie, what would you do?
I haven't thought of anything still in the meantime. I was going to steal one of your answers if they were good enough, but they're all pretty rubbish. So I'm not going to come up with anything. Now, the obvious one is the loved ones, isn't it? And we've all said that. You've got to do that, apart from Darren, of course, that wouldn't care.
Have a fag, Jay. Come and join me. We could be like Morecambe and Wise, right? We could share the double bed, and we could just smoke all day long.
Well, there you go.
Look at that.
The last day before everybody kicks it, and I'm in bed with Darren. There you go.
Smoking a fag.
Smoking Gold Virginia.
Yeah. Lovely.
What a way to go. What a way to go.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've exhausted that
thanks
one.
for that, Sam.
Are there any more you don't
No,
like?
the rest of
Jamie?
them are fine.
Okay, so we've got another topic here that we can move on to, and this one is more about photography in itself. Well, it's much about cameras. It's from someone called, now, it's either, because it's all one word, it's either Ben the Spread or Bent He Spread. I think it's probably Ben the Spread, isn't it? It's just the way or Bent He's Ben Thestweed. No, it'll be Ben the Spread. Anyway, he said, I enjoyed the podcast. I have a possible question. So I don't know if he's not sure if it's a question or not. It's a question because you put a question mark after it, Ben, so it gives it away. It says, do any of you guys have experience of buying new cameras on the grey market?
I do.
So, and so do I. So I thought it might be an interesting conversation because I know there's a bit of a fear, isn't there, from a lot of people. Oh, you can't buy a camera on the grey market because it's got a different serial number and if anything goes wrong and all of that. So you used to worry about it, didn't you, Daz?
Yeah, I really did. I wouldn't buy anything grey. But then obviously you guys, excuse me, was buying grey. And I think my 100 to 400, I thought, oh, do you know what? I'm just gonna do it. And I bought that grey, and it was absolutely fine, no problems whatsoever. And you do save so much money. So I must admit now, I won't have any hesitations in buying from the grey market at all.
Yeah, and I'm the same. I mean, I found a company years ago called Panamos. And I've used those pretty much exclusively ever since. And they're brilliant. I mean, their prices are so much cheaper for a start than buying it in the UK. And then you've also got 3 years. You get 3 years UK warranty with them as well. And I've never had a problem. In fact, I had a lens through them. It was a 70-200 Canon f4L a while back. And it was faulty. And I ended up taking it on holiday. So I'd had it a couple of weeks, 3 or 4 weeks already before I took it on holiday. Took it on holiday, realised it was faulty. Had 2 weeks on holiday, came back, so I was well out of the period. Dropped them a message, says, look, this lens is faulty. I just went, send it back and we'll replace it. No worries, we'll give you a refund. And I just said, oh, well, I'll have a refund. And then that was it, literally sent it back, got a refund really quickly. So I have no issues at all with grey, especially
Didn't you have an issue though, Gary, before Panama's? Wasn't there a company that you did use that you had an issue with us?
Well, yeah, I did. And that was my own stupidity, really, because I'd used Panama's, well, obviously, I'd used Panama's previously and they were brilliant. And then when I went to buy my Sony, I discovered a company called E-Infinity. And they were even cheaper, or in fact, quite a bit cheaper than Panama's. So
are they northern?
Yeah, Infinity.
Sorry.
Yeah. This is just we're going to do this every week, aren't we? I'll have to find something else E next week or I. E-Infinity and Infinity. Can't stop saying it now. No, they were much cheaper than Panama's. And I thought, oh, well, I'll give them a go. And I bought a lens from there. Bought the 24-105 Sony lens and my Sony A7 III as it was at the time. And it was, I mean, there's a huge problem with the camera. It was the shutter. So anything you had on we talked about this before, but anything you had on a tripod, if you did a 5-shot, bracket, the first couple of shots weren't too bad, but as it went along and the shutter was open slightly longer, the movement in the actual mechanism, if you didn't have it on silent shutter, just the blur was unbelievable. The camera shake. So I told them about it. This was well within my month. I think it was about 2 weeks in, and I had to fight them like tooth and nail to get my money back. Because they just didn't want to do it. They didn't even offer me a replacement. They were like, no, you're outside of, because they said they got a 2 week period. And I was like, yeah, but it's statutory 4 weeks in the UK. No. So, yeah, I had a nightmare with them. Did get my money back eventually. But I don't know whether I might have I probably wouldn't have the same issue if it was a UK company because of that statutory 28-day period. But they were fine. They were fine in the end. But Panama's, who I use now, they were brilliant. And just to save a couple of quid, I wouldn't bother doing that now. I'd go to Panama's instead.
Yeah, I'm the same. I've done Panama's. I think it was on the back of Stu, I think, recommended them when I was looking at my Nikon and all the lenses and everything came through Panama's recently and didn't have an issue at all. In fact, I think if you bundle up things and you've got enough meat in your basket, you can negotiate with them as well, and they'll do you some discounts. I got some stuff thrown in for free, and the customer service was superb as well. So not just the product comes and you're happy, but the actual buying experience as well was great. There was great communication, things arrived on time, not had a problem. So yeah, I would definitely recommend it for the money you save. And I know that the likes of Wex and others are probably suffering because of it, but at the end of the day, it's a competitive marketplace out there, and if somebody's offering you something that is going to give you a discount and there's no negatives to it, then why wouldn't the buyer go with it? Really, it doesn't make sense. So and if it brings down the retail price in the UK, then happy days. It benefits everybody.
Yep. Bang goes our Wex sponsorship. Yeah. But Panama's, I mean, if you're watching Panama's, get in touch.
You've got MPB, but do they sell grey market stuff? Or?
No, it's just used.
Well, they're all second-hand MPB.
They just use.
Well, no, they take.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, but they take grey stuff.
Yeah, they do.
Because,
yes.
Yeah, they take it. But they kind of shaft you a little bit, though, don't they?
I sold some stuff this week to MPB.
MPB sponsorship. Did you? What did you sell, Daz?
Oh, I sold my Canon 80D, a Tamron lens. I had a hard case. When you open it up, there's all the foam inserts, for your lenses and stuff. But since I bought it, because it was a lovely case, but it was so heavy that it would have cost me more to book it onto the plane and pay for the extra weight than it would to buy all my lenses again. So I thought, that was a waste of money. So I must admit, I got it secondhand. Yeah, I was just sorting out a few bits, and I just sent it all off. I didn't get a lot for it. I went about 250 quid all in, but it was still better than it just sitting there collecting dust. So.
Oh man, that Canon 80D was lovely as well.
Yeah, but I
really enjoyed using that because you lent it to me.
Yeah,
do you remember?
Yeah. But what do you do? You can only hold on to so much, and I do like buying stuff and then selling it straight away. So I realised I haven't sold anything for about 10 days. So I just, so
better sell it. Better get in there. Yeah, I see the eBay business is going. Sorry, the Facebook Marketplace business is still going strong.
I've got a lot left now. So Helen better be careful. Otherwise, the front room sofa will be gone soon.
Better buy some more stuff.
If I haven't sold nothing within a week.
Well, don't worry, Daz. The photography show is coming up soon, so you can buy some more stock at the photography show. You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Yeah, come and buy some filters. Come to Case and buy some filters.
I've just bought some Case filters.
Are you doing discounts, Adam?
I don't know. I have no idea. I'll just be there.
Just hello, come buy filters. Someone didn't recognise you on the Pubcast, by the way. They said you look like Harry Enfield. Did you read that comment?
I don't know who that is.
Do you not know who Harry Enfield is?
No.
I don't think he looks like Harry Enfield.
Nothing
anyway.
like Harry Enfield.
No.
That was a bad one.
Did you know that Harry Enfield was Lily Allen's stepdad?
No.
There you go, see?
Was he?
Yeah.
So who That's Keith Allen's daughter.
It's Keith
Lily
Allen's
Allen.
daughter,
Yeah.
which they're estranged now.
Right.
And then I don't know if Lily Allen's mum and Harry Enfield were ever married, but she refers to Harry Enfield as her stepdad. Or they're no longer together. But yeah, I think she's still they're very close, them two still.
You
There
heard
you
it here
go.
first. Yeah. Random fact of the day.
I reckon he's got loads
So
of money.
we covered the grey market. Hey, very good. Very good. Have we covered the grey market, or does anyone else want to chip in with something?
No, just to say that I was very fearful and I'm no longer fearful. So if you're considering it, go to Panama's, what Gary recommended. They're very good and I've had no issues with them.
Yeah. Or as my father-in-law calls them, and always calls them, Pamazon.
Pamazon.
I'm like, Pamazon. I'm like, it's Panama's. Pamazon. I've been in touch with Pamazon. It's Panama's. You're mixing Amazon up with Panama's. Yes, Pamazon. Right. Okay. It's Pamazon. It's Pamazon. It's fine. It's Pamazon. Right. So we'll move on. We'll move on to another topic now. What have we got? Let's have a look. We've got some more lovely photography ones. This one could be a good one. Now, Daz, this one's one of yours, right?
Right.
And I kind of want to know the story behind this. And actually, Dave's got one that I'm going to ask in a minute as well that I want to know the story behind. Would you tell a friend their photography is slipping? Is there something you want to tell us, or me?
Or me.
Yeah, no, this is a bit of a this is a bit of a grey area. This, okay. So I'll tell you briefly, but then I'll kind of bring it back. But there's somebody that I don't even know personally, never met the guy, but I used to look at their photography and think they like really good, which they was. Their stuff, like, I don't know, 5 years ago was really good, and now I just find their stuff just very lazy, just really like almost like holiday snaps. And so I don't know this person. So what I'm saying is not aimed at that person. It's kind of aimed at as a group of friends. And I was thinking, like, with this person, I thought, if I knew that person, would I actually say to him, like, you know, like if it, let's say it was you, Gal, for argument's sake, you know, I think, would I have the...
It is me, isn't it, you bastard?
It's not you.
I haven't been out much.
It's not
my
you.
fault.
But I did think, would I actually kind of pull my friend to one side and actually say, look, you know, what's going on here? Do you know what I mean? You used to take all these really nice photos, and now, like, you know what I mean, you're just really like quite dull with your photography.
I haven't had the chance to get anywhere.
So that was my question. If you had a good friend, Gary, would you actually say, you know, to your friend, Gary, you know, your photography slipping, or would you kind of just let it go?
Well, I'll answer that. I'd let it go because you might hurt his feelings, Dad.
Gal, it is not you. I promise you, it is not you.
Oh dear. Does anyone want to come in on that?
I guess it depends on how they take it. I mean, at the end of the day, as long as you still enjoy taking photographs, who really cares? You know, I did have a guy once on my YouTube channel tell me that my photography wasn't as good as it used to be, and I just said to him, well, maybe you're a better photographer now, and you appreciate different things. I don't know. I mean, what are you going to do? You just say, okay, well, I'll try better next time. I mean,
yeah, but that guy didn't really know you, did he? So what I'm saying, that was almost like a bit of a, almost like a bit of a hurtful comment, a bit of a spiteful comment, really. But if it was a friend of yours, you know, and you could see that they was, I'll tell you what it was years ago.
It doesn't make it any less hurtful, Daz.
I think it was actually Tom Heaton, and he actually put a video, this was years ago, so I'm talking like 5, 6, 7 years ago, I can't remember now, but he actually said on one of his videos, and it always stuck with me, you know, put up your best work on social media. Don't kind of just put out loads and loads of photos that are really, really mediocre. Just kind of put out, you know, like quality over quantity. And I have seen some real good quality images from this guy, but I've also seen, a lot of real kind of mediocre images, kind of constantly coming out. And so if that was a friend of yours, would you kind of say to him, like hold back on the
But does he still come out with images that you still really like, though, or is it just consistently
now and again?
not that
But
great
but
anymore?
like literally, kind of perhaps kind of, I don't know, 1 in 20, 1 in 30.
Yeah, but is
he a YouTuber?
No, I don't think so.
No, he's on X.
Yeah.
I don't think
It's like
I wouldn't tell my friends. I'd just let it go.
You wouldn't.
Yeah,
No, I wouldn't say anything. No.
I wouldn't either. I think, quite apart from, I think Adam made a really good point that, you're referring to sort of 5 years ago, you liked his work, but hopefully you've moved on in the last 5 years, and so your benchmark is different. But I would never, ever have anything to say about any other photography unless I was invited to. That's it. End of.
Even if it was one of us, Dave.
Yeah.
Especially if it was one of you.
Gary.
It's none of my business. It's not for me to pass judgment at all. If it was Gary, I might have a word.
I think if it was one of us, Daz, by the way, if it was one of us, I might take him out for a really expensive meal and a couple of drinks first before I told him. I think that's what I do.
Lube him
Maybe
up
a
a
couple of meals. Maybe spread it out a bit. Maybe spread
What
spread the pain
about
and
breakfast?
just sort of,
Do you think that person would accept breakfast on a Saturday morning in Norfolk?
Yeah. I think I would definitely go breakfast on a Saturday morning in Norfolk.
McDonald's breakfast.
Definitely
Let's talk
first.
tomorrow. We'll talk
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Yeah, over breakfast.
Over breakfast in Norfolk.
Either that or about 10 minutes to midnight on the day before Armageddon.
Yeah.
Guys, you're shit. Send.
Oh, dear. Why did I ask this question? See, Jamie, this is the one I'm not enjoying now. I feel really bad. I haven't been out much, Daz.
Not you.
Yeah. Go on, sorry, Adam.
Well, I wasn't going to mention this, but I had a friend of mine that we were talking about my book, my first book, and he said to me, he really enjoyed the photographs, but he thought the printing was pretty poor. And at first I was a bit offended, but then, I thought to myself, well, he's entitled to his opinion, and sometimes you have to really open yourself up to harsh criticism and listen to what people might have to say. You don't have to listen to it and be upset about it. If you try and take that criticism as a learning point, then sometimes you can really help, even though it might hurt your feelings at the start. With my own photography, I think I realize that not everybody likes my photography, and that's fine with me. I'm not going to come out there and say I did in my last video. I'm the greatest.
I was going to say you did.
You did, yeah. But you preceded it with your photographs of crap.
Yeah. But I don't know. I think it's good to have criticism now and then and try and learn from it. But being offended about it, but it's hard. It's hard to take. It really is, especially when you're starting out. It's really difficult to take.
Yeah.
I've never had a problem with it, Adam. I'm usually, I take criticism really well normally. If someone, I had a guy a few years back told me that I blew my highlights, and that's gone now. I've forgotten about that that's gone within 3 or 4 years.
6 months of therapy.
No, but 6 months therapy and slating him for everything he did after that, even if it was a picture of him with his newborn kid.
Well, I give another example. Like my friend Brian, when he first started posting on social media, all of his images were really dark, And I said to him, I said, Brian, your photography is good, but man, they're way too dark. And the reason why they were dark is because he didn't adjust the brightness on his computer. He was doing it full brightness.
Okay.
And so for him, that was a learning point, But if I hadn't said anything, he would have just kept going and just said, "Oh well, they're dark."
Yeah, yeah. And maybe that's the way. Maybe it's about how you present that criticism. So,
well, definitely,
if someone is slipping and not taking the photos they used to, maybe try and analyze what it is about the photos that's not as the quality isn't there, and maybe say, "Oh, have you thought about are you doing something? You could do that. Are you doing something different with your hair at the moment?" That usually works, doesn't it? You're doing something different with your hair at the moment. You're doing something different with your photos at the moment. So are you trying out something new, like purposefully making them shit or something? You could just throw that in and see how it goes down.
I'm interested to know what Stuart's got to say, because on any given summer's day, he gets all sorts of unsolicited feedback from the browsing public.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Good one. I mean, it depends on the person, doesn't it? I mean, some people take criticism. I mean, critique, I would say, not criticism. It's critique, really. It should be critique, not criticism. But it depends on the person, I think. I mean, I've got a couple of people who are photography friends that I know really wouldn't take that kind of thing well. But then I've got another photography friend who comes on trips with me and stuff, and he would openly welcome it at any point, because I know he's that kind of character. But all this is presupposing that, I mean, Daz, you were saying about only kind of posting your best stuff. We talked on a couple of podcasts ago about people using social media and posting images as like a visual diary of what they're doing. So that person that you're on about might be using social media in that way. So you might see 1 out of every 20 that you think is a really good image, and then the other 19 are crap or whatever. But they might be using social media not as a sort of, here is my portfolio, my best work, but it's just a case of, here's a kind of image diary of what I'm doing. And unless you know what that person's intent is, it's very hard to kind of make a judgment on them in that way, if you know what I mean. Because they might, if you challenge them on that and said, "Hey, your photography's slipping a bit," and they'll go, "Well, I'm not posting that as a portfolio worthy image. If you want to look at that, probably go on the website, for example." I know I've posted loads of images in that manner where, they're not necessarily, portfolio stuff, but it's just, I've been out, here's a shot of what I've done, and, there it is. People's approaches to those sort of things change all the time.
Maybe if you share the name with us all, we could all go and have a look and decipher whether they are just portfolios or diary images. And we won't tell anyone. Just share it here now with all of us on the podcast and everyone else who's listening.
No, well, as I say, it wasn't aimed at this particular person. It was just, it just popped into my mind. Yeah. Would you tell a friend? It wasn't aimed at this person. It was, would you tell a friend?
It's just an observation.
Yeah.
It's the photography equivalent of that old chestnut, would you tell a friend they've got halitosis or they could use a shower or something, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is that Gary again?
That's a tough one, isn't it?
I'm saying nothing.
Would you tell a friend they snore?
Yeah.
I already know that. Go on, Sam. What were you going to say?
I was going to say it works. It works both ways as well, in that I wouldn't sort of give false positive feedback on an image which I didn't think was good just because they're a friend. And a friend of mine, for example, who I really like and I really like their photography, recently posted an image which I didn't like and had some technical faults with it too. And I wouldn't give any positive feedback on that. I wouldn't sort of, I wouldn't sort of like it and make or comment like I would. Well, I don't tend to comment very often anyway, but I wouldn't say, "Oh, great image. if I didn't genuinely.
So is Hannah not talking to you now?
Well, actually, Hannah went out and did some landscape photography recently and took a blooming amazing image, which I absolutely loved. So, and I shared it to my Instagram.
I think I saw
story,
that.
so-
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, it was good.
I think I saw that. Yeah, it was very good.
All right, so the jury's out on
I
that
think-
one then. Oh,
Yeah,
Jamie,
no,
go on, what was you
all I was thinking on it is that I think that the key point in the question is would you tell a friend? And I think if you're a true friend, then I think you probably would want to help them and share share it with them, because if you're a true friend to anybody, then if for instance, if you knew their wife was having an affair with somebody, would you tell them that or not? I don't know. If you were a true friend, you might want to slip it in and make them aware of it. So if you're a true friend, would you not?
Hey, hang on a
Slip it
minute.
in. what
Poor
we're
choice
talking
of
about
words
here
there,
now? Who's having this affair?
Unless you're the one having the affair.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
And then you slip it in.
I was just trying to make a comparison which failed completely, but anyway, my point stands around the true friendship. But I think if it flipped on,
Do you want to go back to the Armageddon?
no, I'm fine with this one. No, but seriously, if it flipped the other way, if it was me, I would expect a friend to tell me that, for whatever reason, they thought my photography wasn't as good as others. And I wouldn't be offended by that because they were a friend. I think if they weren't a friend, you would think, well, what's it got to do with you? But yeah, it's my photography. You do what I want with it. But if they're a friend, then you probably take that more on board and you respect it a bit more. Going back to the conversation we had last week about, you respect the comments and feedback from your peers because they're the ones that are more knowledgeable about making that sort of criticism or critique. So I don't know. I think I wouldn't be blunt about it and come out with it and say your photography is really going downhill. I would probably say it in a way that might be a little bit more helpful than that. But I think I probably would try and drop it in a conversation if it was me.
How would you do it?
I'd say, Gary, your photography is really going downhill. You really need to get out more.
And Gary would say, yeah, but I've not been out much. And then you would say, and then Gary...
They say, I love you, man. I love you, man.
Then Gary would go back down
I
the
would
pub.
say, then I would say, at least buy me a drink first, Jamie.
And then I'd say, when you have too much to drink, you snore, Gary. So how do you win?
That's true.
Just buy him a toothbrush.
When I don't have too much to drink, I snore. Yeah. Well, anyway, thanks for watching. I'm going now. I've had enough. Right. So we might not tell people. We might, depends who they are. Darren's going to buy me breakfast and talk to me about it tomorrow, and then we'll see where we go.
And this is
So,
the last
does that
last
answer your
episode,
question,
last season
Darren?
of the Pubcast tonight.
Yeah.
We're signing off.
Yeah, that's it. I hate you all, you bunch of bastards. Never knew you felt like that about me. Smelly halitosis can't take a photo. Unbelievable. Snorer. Unbelievable. Did answer your
Yes.
question, Daz, yeah? Yeah, good. Okay. So you'll tell us offline who it is, won't you?
No, it's not important.
You will.
Oh,
You will.
So, Dave, you had a question, and I didn't write it down, but it really intrigued me when you mentioned it because I want to know what it's about. So, what was your question about camera clubs and copying, wasn't it?
Well, it was more a sort of general talk about plagiarism. I'm not sure we've particularly covered it in the past, but it's something that happens far too often in the photography world where one person's work is purloined by another's and passed off as their own. And we had an instance very recently in the camera club wherein I used to be a member up until this time yesterday when I fired off an angry email. It was a full howler to the new chairman who's only been in position for a month, poor bugger. A really nice guy. I felt quite bad. But the situation is this. We have a Facebook group. I say we. It's not we, it's they now. And one person put a photograph on the Facebook group, which was taken by another member of the same club. Now, this is a Facebook group of about 20 members. It wasn't going to go unnoticed. So the person who actually took the photograph made contact and said, "Excuse me, that's mine." At which point the photograph was hurriedly removed, and that was it. It was right, okay, water under the bridge. Well, no, hang on a minute, it isn't, because you stole my work and put it out as your own, so that doesn't go unpunished. So the offender, it turned out, because we were getting towards the end of the year, was due to step down from a committee position, and at that point decided they would also resign from the club altogether. And that was that. So end of discussion. However, they changed their mind and decided not to resign from the club, but to stay in position. So it was put to the committee that this is out of order unless there is a public apology for said theft of work. And the person who offended said, "No, I'm not apologising. Not going to happen." And so the person whose work it was said, "Okay, that's fine then, but I don't want to be associated with a club that condones theft." And I said, "No, neither do I, actually. If you're not going to do something about it, it's a thin end of the wedge. It brings into question the integrity of the club. It leaves the door open for people to do it in future. I mean, there's a principle at stake." So I resigned as well, not from the committee, because I've got more sense than to be on the committee. So I just said I won't be in ever again, and I won't be judging the next competition either. But I was interested to know, have any of you ever been plagiarised, had your work stolen? And if so, what did you do about it? Or if you haven't, what might you do about it?
Well, firstly, I haven't had my work stolen because it's shit, apparently. No. Firstly, I haven't had that happen to me, but I find it I can't understand why they would do it. It doesn't make any sense because it wasn't entered into competition.
No.
And they know that the other person's on the group, and there's only about 20 of you.
Yeah.
Why?
That is
Did they just have a moment of madness, or?
Well, you'd have thought they'd say, "Oh, I had a folder of club images and I didn't realise it wasn't mine." I mean, some feeble excuse, but absolutely nothing. I mean, it was full brass neck. "I'm not apologising. I've taken it down. As far as I'm concerned, it's water under the bridge." And that person is the sort of person who actually doesn't understand the offence it causes. But my beef really was with the club itself as an entity taking no action. I mean, they considered it to be water under the bridge because the photograph had been removed. Now, when Reader's Digest purloined one of my images, I sent them an invoice, which is my standard invoice for in perpetuity licensing of an image, which allows them to do anything they like with it except resell it. So I sent them an invoice and they wrote back and said, "Oh, no, we've taken it down." I said, "Doesn't matter. It was up. Therefore, the invoice is now in place. You've now enacted the terms of my license." And they said, "Well, no, we're not having that." And some White Sox, fresh out of university, paralegal got in touch, quoted a bit of legal gobbledygook, and I said, "No problem at all. See you in court." And they soon backed down and paid the bill. But we all run the risk because we put our stuff on social media, for example. I mean, you see people putting embarrassing watermarks on their images to prevent them being stolen, as if that's going to make any difference. Funnily enough, the image that I had stolen had a very discreet watermark in the bottom corner, and they left it there, which is a bit of a giveaway.
Well, I mean, like I said, I have had my work used before, but like not professionally. It was someone was using it in a blog. It was one of my London street images, or a couple of them, and they'd obviously gone onto Flickr and found a couple and were using them as an example of their trip to wherever. I just went, just like some small time nobody. So I didn't even bother with it. But I have pulled someone up on it before, which is really petty on my behalf, but I just couldn't help myself. In our local Facebook group, our village Facebook group, we had this woman on who's like terrible photographer. Like uses her iPad for photos.
Have you told
she
her?
go,
Have you mentioned it discreetly?
when
You really should, Darren.
Yeah.
Yeah, come on.
she's awful.
What kind of friend are you?
She
Well,
went
in the
out.
morning.
She went out somewhere and took some like really crappy photos of the sunset. With the sun, a great big white blob, and all of this.
Don't blow
And
your
she'd go, "Oh,
highlights.
brilliant, beautiful sunset from Barton today," and it'd be like white blob, white blob, white blob, white blob, white blob, somewhere from like the Balearic Islands, looking absolutely amazing. And I was like, well, "That's not Barton." And I dropped her, and the first time she did it with that, and then she did it with a robin. That was taking a photo of a robin in the garden. So robin in the garden on her shot on her iPad, and then one of them shot on a 600mm lens. You could tell with a lovely bokeh in the background and a little bit of snow in the middle of summer. And I'm like, it's really weird. So I messaged her. I put a message in the group. What camera did you take that on? Because that's a beautiful shot. And she went, "Oh, on my iPad." And I went, "Oh, what were the settings for that? Because I can't believe you got the." Anyway, eventually she took it down, and then another time she took one. Oh, this is like the forest, the woods in Barton Woods, and one of them. I did a Google image search on the photo she put. It's like somewhere in China, some like rainforest in China, and I was like, so I put on that one. I don't ever remember seeing that in the Springs. Whereabouts is that? I can't quite place it. Oh, it's just round the back. And in the end, I just went. She did one where she posted a photo of all like photos going, "Oh, it's autumn with the leaves," and one of them, and I shit you not, it was a CGI like generated image of leaves falling. And when I Google image searched it, it was from like one of like Alamy or somewhere like that. Trying to like a stock photo site, and I just went, look. I posted a message really politely. I said, your photos are fine, but can you please stop posting other people's photos because it's their work and technically you're stealing it. So if you want to post photos you've done on the group, that's fine. I'm not an admin of the group, but I thought I'm going to do this. But please stop stealing other people's work because they've worked hard and you're going to take the credit for it. Of course, I then just get blocked from her. So now she still posts them, but I can't see them because I'm blocked. So, and that's the attitude of some people. You can't do anything about it. But yeah, I mean, if it was one of mine, I'd be royally pissed off. Yeah. Someone else can talk now.
I remember when back in the 90s when the internet was just starting to be a thing and people were very concerned about getting their images stolen. And there were a number of cases where you'd get, say, a Chinese company stealing people's photographs from like 500px and putting them on packaging and so on. But my feeling is now, I mean, as soon as you put something on the internet, it's pretty much fair game, whether you agree with it or not. I mean, people are going to steal stuff. I mean, if you don't want your work stolen, then just don't post on the web, unfortunately. We had like some of the courses that I know that Nick has produced and the F4 thing, someone paid for it and then they downloaded it to a site where you could buy it for like $10, and basically the guy said, if you pay me a fee, I'll take it down, pretty much blackmail.
No way.
What?
Yeah.
What a twat.
Yeah. But they had hundreds of videos from all types of photographers. And I know Nick did fight it, but I don't think he got anywhere with it. He got together with a number of other photographers.
Equally, Adam, if you just have charged a little bit less for that.
So, hang on, so
No, I'm only saying that because it was. Do you remember when it was a Pubcast topic?
Yeah.
I'm not actually saying that you should do that. I'm just.
Yeah, I had an incident a few years ago in my gallery actually where you'll have all probably had these requests from people sometimes where they'll see an image of you on social media and they'll go, "Oh, would you mind if I painted it?" Because you get a lot of people sort of want to paint pictures and stuff like that. And I had one of these requests about a shot that I sell in my gallery as a limited edition print. It's one that won a big award in Landscape Photographer of the Year, and it's quite a special image to me. It's one of my favourite images. I wouldn't, run it as a limited edition if it wasn't. Anyway, this person gets in touch and, would you mind if I painted it? And I said, well, yeah, no problem, just as long as it's not for obviously commercial gain. yeah, whatever. Thought no more of it. And then fast forward about, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 months, something like that. And I'm up at my framers getting a load of work, collecting a load of work that had been framed up for me. And I noticed out on the counter, this picture looked remarkably similar to this picture that I sell in my gallery as a limited edition. And my framer actually gives me a nudge, and he said, "Here, he says, this looks really similar to One Eye Frame," because he obviously does the framing of this picture that I sell, and he says, "This looks really similar to One Eye Frame for you normally." And I went and looked at it, and it was this person had literally just ripped the thing off and just did a painted version of it, basically. Now it does. There's always this kind of grey area where, you know, artists, painters will, you know, take landscape photographers' work and, you know, reimagine it in their own vision or whatever. But this was just an absolute carbon copy, and I was really annoyed because, as I say, I'd spoke to this person privately, and I'd said, "Yeah, no problem, just as long as you don't do it for commercial gain." But if I hadn't been to the framers, I wouldn't have found out about this, because this lady actually sells artwork in a gallery in Kendal, which is about an hour away from me. And this was getting framed up to go in that gallery. Because I said to my framer, I said, "Oh, what's happening with this?" He says, "Oh, they go to this gallery in Kendal. They sell for sort of £800-900 a pop." So I was like, "Oh, that's not going to happen." So yeah. Anyway, I got in touch with the person, and you know, I was pretty as sort of understanding as you could be over that. And I said, "Look, you know, I don't want to have to take this further, but basically, you know, that's not going up in a gallery." And she fought me on it, and eventually we ended up in like legal letters and all sorts. And
Really?
yeah, and eventually she backed down over it. But yeah, if I hadn't been up to my framers at that point, I wouldn't have even known that this person was going to do that. But she sells a lot of work in there for a lot of money, and you know, it's really disappointing that, you know, someone would be that you know, brazen about it, and the fact that, you know, I'd said not for commercial gain, and she'd no problem at all, and then she'd gone behind my back and done that. It was
Did it anyway.
So yeah, if you ever get those kind of requests in future, I mean, that's obviously probably an isolated incident, but just be careful of that sometimes, because you know, you can get painters who just blatantly rip off landscape photography work and just sell it, and then it's under the guise of, well, I'm using it as inspiration or whatever. But yeah, that was.
I've had a couple of painters contact me about images, and then they've sent me what they did. There's no chance of them ever selling it.
Yeah, and that's the case 99% of the time, isn't it?
Yeah,
but yeah, this. Yeah,
I know Gavin. I don't know if you guys recall this. I guess it was about 2 years ago. Someone posted an image on Instagram, and it was an exact copy of Gavin's photograph. So he called them out on it. And of course, his followers just blasted this person for blatantly, you know, taking his image. Well, it turned out it was actually the guy's image, but he'd copied his composition. Almost, he must have had a photograph in front of him,
right?
And so Gavin ended up apologizing. But I guess that's the next question. You know, it's one thing to blatantly take someone's image and post it as your own, but what about when you're actually copying someone's composition to the T and then claiming it as your own? I mean, how does that? Because I think we've all done it at some point. We've probably seen someone's photograph, go, "Oh, I'd love to go to that area," and you more or less maybe not copy it, but you use the same subject matter, kind of like what's his the round rock, and is it Elgo on the Isle of Skye?
Joe Cornish. Yeah.
Joe Cornish's rock, you know. Like I've photographed that. So at what point do we consider it to be copying another photographer? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, it's very difficult, that one, because when is it? How can you how can you prove it? I mean, I'll give you an example. I took a shot at Padley Gorge, and I'm certainly not saying anyone copied me. I took a shot at Padley Gorge of a tree, and there's someone else on YouTube who's taken literally the same shot of the tree, and then someone else consequently has taken literally the same shot of the tree, and they're saying, "Oh, I'm really sorry to the second person. I've copied your tree. I've taken a shot of so and so's tree," and I went, "Well, hang on a minute. I took that shot prior to you, but then probably 50 people have taken that shot prior to me." So it's, I think it all depends on intent, doesn't it? If you go out with the intent to copy someone's image, then that's a different thing than if you see the image and you're inspired by it, and then you go out and happen to take a similar one. I don't know. It's a very grey area.
Yeah,
that.
it is.
Well,
I know
Very
some.
grey area, isn't it?
Sorry, Samuel.
I was going to say, because I sort of did it in a way when I did in that video I did from Glen Effort, because I took a photo of the same group of trees that Simon Baxter had taken, and I felt like when I made, because I genuinely wasn't looking for those trees, and I wasn't trying to copy Simon's image of them. But as I was walking up that bit, I said, "Oh, those trees, which are which I've seen Simon Baxter photograph before." So I made a point in the video of saying that, because I didn't want it just to be sort of, "Oh, I've just found these beautiful trees and don't they look amazing," because it was obvious that it's the same trees that Simon Baxter had photographed. But I did take a different composition of them. I didn't copy his image. I did take a different composition of those trees. So I guess it's a different intent to if I had specifically gone there to recreate the same photograph that Simon Baxter had taken it, and I would have, if I'd been doing that, I would have literally copied his composition. But I think those two things are two different things. But it's okay to acknowledge.
Gary's ripped off my Llyn Padarn lone tree image. Totally brazen.
Yeah.
No
Yeah,
apology.
It's terrible. It's terrible. I mean, that is my. I mean, I was probably the first person ever to take that image of that tree in that position, considering there's only one place you can take that shot. That's what I was about to say, though. You said that you took a different composition purposefully to what Simon Baxter took, but if you found yourself there and you liked the composition he took, it's not copyrighted by him. No. And it's very difficult.
I can say to that, because I mean, what you're doing there is absolutely the right thing. It's just good etiquette that if you're aware that someone has taken that shot or similar composition, then it's just good sport to mention it, I think. But so what you were saying about that image, I mean, I've seen an earlier shot of those trees before Simon shot it. Lee Acaster shot it, I think, a good couple of years before Simon did. So it's how far back do you go? You can go if you're aware that someone has taken that shot and you're inspired by it. Then I think it's fair enough to just say, I'm taking this shot, but I was inspired to come here, or this composition by such and such, and that's it. But you can only work with the information you've got. And like you're saying there, you were aware Simon had taken that shot, but I'm sitting here knowing that someone took it before Simon did. So it's hard to, you know what I mean? How far do you go back?
I was going to say that there is somebody that I know had suffered this quite a recent week. We actually know him. I won't going to call him out, but I think in his case, he was doing some coastal photography, and it was
in East Anglia.
In East Anglia, yeah. And there was no honeypot involved here. It was a pretty nondescript coastal scene, but he'd composed it exceptionally well. There were some grasses, and it was a nice composition. And of course, he had a video out with it as well, and it had this composition in it, and he shot it, and he put a picture up, and it was a great picture. Apparently, then on social media a few days afterwards, somebody else had literally, by the looks of it, gone in his tripod holes and took exactly the same composition in the same area and posted it up. And in essence, for what you're saying, Gary, there's no law against doing that, but the ethics here are if he'd have actually watched that video by that person, the ethics is
Yeah.
I got inspired by a video I saw recently. This guy took this shot, and it
Exactly.
got me
That's what
out
you
there to
should
take
do,
it,
yeah.
and I took a very similar shot. And it's not going to be the same because it was different weather conditions and everything else, but the composition was more or less bang on.
What I was saying though is that Sam was almost put off the composition of Simon Baxter's because Simon Baxter had taken it. I'm not saying don't give him a nod to say, listen, I was really inspired by Simon Baxter when I come across his, and I know he's taken this shot before, but I want to take my version of it. But what I'm saying is you shouldn't say, oh, that one's out of bounds now. I can't take it at all because Simon's taken that. Do you know what I mean? But
no one owns the
right.
landscape.
Etiquette says that you should give, credence to the first person.
Where you saw it, where you got
the
inspiration from. Yeah.
Well, if you go to a honeypot location and take a photo, for example, Kirkjufell in Iceland, and you wanted to take that photograph, who are you going to give the credit to? Because there's a million photographs, or Mazer Arch or somewhere like that. You can't give credit to every single person that's photographed it, but it's known that it's a known location. But if you happen to, in the case of those trees in Glenafric, I did take a different composition, but I knew that it was, I was inspired by Simon, so I wanted to give him a shout out. And there have been other instances where I've done similar things. If I've been inspired by an image, I won't necessarily copy the exact same composition, but it's always nice to acknowledge if you've been inspired to go to a location by someone, it's good to give them an acknowledgement.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it separates the men from the boys in terms of how ethical you are about your photography. And it's a bit intangible, but there's kind of I've got one rule on my Facebook group, which is don't be an arse. And I think that if you just sort of live your life by don't be an arse, you'll be all right, because there'll be times when you might inadvertently not realize you're taking the same photograph as countless others. But if you do know of it and you're aware of it, it's just polite, just a nod to somebody that has preempted it. But I mean, it kind of goes, stealing somebody's work and passing it off as your own goes beyond don't be an arse. I mean, it requires a full-on kicking.
It's funny. I have an inside thing going with some friends of mine. We'll often go out together, and then they'll find a subject and they'll show me it, and I go, "Oh, that's really good." So then I steal their composition and then claim it as my own. And then because I have more of an audience on my YouTube channel, people think that they actually copied me. So it works out well.
Brilliant.
Don't be an arse, Adam.
It's kind of like those people though as well. I mean, on X, where you get the people who have the pages where they just post other people's work.
Oh, those aggregator
and it's
pages.
like,
Weird.
where's the ethics in that? Because they're doing that to get popularity for their own, their own profile, but they're using other people's work. But then you can't pull them up on it because they say, "Well, I've put them credit of who took the photo." But you're like, but you didn't take the photo. I find that one
It's just weird, isn't it?
I pull somebody up.
But I think
photography's full of weirdos.
On some things like YouTube, it can be quite lucrative, because I was thinking about this yesterday. The shorts, there's people there that just post videos of other people's misfortunes, and they have millions of views, and they're getting ad revenue from that. So that can be quite lucrative, I guess.
Yeah. People who post clips of films, little bits of films, and put their own music to it, and they're massive. They're massive.
There you go, Darren. You missed a trick. You should have videoed Gary falling on his arse coming down.
Oh yeah,
should have done
that mountain.
King Hell, yeah.
Oh, I fell over on Wednesday. Oh my God, I was playing walking football.
How'd you fall over walking?
How'd you fall over playing walking football?
It's not walking. I keep saying to people, it's not walking. You're still running, but you're not. You can't run fast. So it's like you
shuffle,
waddle.
Yeah. Is it like that sort of mincing, like them fast walkers in the Olympics?
That's what it is. Mincing football. Yeah, you can't have both feet off the ground at the same time. Right?
Did you do a
The shoulders
Cristiano
back.
Ronaldo and roll about on the ground?
I couldn't because there was an elderly gentleman on top of me.
Was he mincing?
Oh, you took someone else down with you.
So I stretched for the ball. I stretched it to control the ball, and my heel went on the top of the ball. And you know when that happens and the ball keeps rolling, and then your legs suddenly you're doing the splits, and then I fell on my arse. And then before I know it, I'd pulled this guy over with me. So he's on top of me, about sort of 70-year-old bloke, sort of flailing around on top of me.
The lengths you'll
And
go
it's me-
to get a cheap thrill.
Oh no! I know. It's me going, oh my god, my arse really hurts. And the worst thing was,
Really?
I didn't even know the guy's name.
Oh, he
Because I-
should
I-
have bought you dinner before
Or
rolling
flowers
about on
or
you, shouldn't he?
anything.
Exactly. I said to him, I said,
Giving you a sore
please
ass.
buy me a drink. Seriously. Yeah. So
Did he ring you the next day? Or-
no, he didn't. He said he would, but he didn't, Dave.
Sounds like he was ringing him at the time.
Anyway, yeah. So that was fun, but I didn't get a video of it, unfortunately. So yeah. Yeah. All right. So we've covered that, haven't we? I think actually we're an hour and 3/4 in. We could probably wrap it up now,
Yeah.
can't we? You know, because some of us have got to get to bed. You know, we've got to be up. Because I did notice this, by the way. Jamie says, "Oh, let's go to Snettisham." I was like, "Okay." I looked at the route. My route to Snettisham goes pretty much where Jamie's house
it?
is.
Oh, you
and
can
I'm
pick me
like
up then.
another hour on. I can if
That's
you
all
want.
right.
Do you want me to?
Joking.
No,
No,
seriously.
that's
do
fine.
you want me
It's
to?
not a problem, mate. No, but it was
No?
picked on the basis that it's
Yeah.
much easier for me to get to than you two. Yeah, because I'm selfish.
Well, yeah, no shit. I noticed that.
Snettisham's
It's like,
Snettisham's
like
really
2
easy
hours.
for me.
There you go.
Oh, good. Well, I'm glad it's easy for you as well. Because it's an extra 50 minutes on from Jamie's.
It's a bit of
for
a
me.
bastard for me, and Sam's completely out the question.
Yeah.
Even more
Well,
difficult
poor
for Adam.
Adam.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
so
Adam's
Adam
not
wanted to come.
invited, so it doesn't matter.
He-
I wouldn't come anyway.
Adam was desperate to come. No. You just, to be honest, Adam, you just copy our shots
Yeah,
anyway.
precisely.
Well, not mine because I'm shit.
Precisely.
I'm shit anyway, so you won't copy mine. But yeah,
I don't
yeah,
copy, I
anyway, what's
refine.
then? Oh yeah, you just improve.
Yeah, refine
Yeah.
is the word.
You add a professional touch.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, Gary, I wasn't going to say, but throughout this entire podcast, you've had a big bogey hanging out your left nostril.
I haven't, have I?
Would you like to be told if you had?
I would like to be told that. Yeah, thanks. Yeah. It's all right. Throughout the last one, Dave, you looked like you were going to die. You had jaundice, but didn't mention it.
I was taking white balance tips from Jamie.
Yeah. So, is that a subtle way of telling him?
Yeah, the photography trap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, we need to go because I've got to get to bed because I've got a big meal in the morning that Dad is going to buy me before he tells me the hard truth that I don't want to hear. It's been great this week. I hope you've enjoyed all 7 of us. Oh, burped. Sorry. I hope you've enjoyed all 7 of us being here. I don't think it's been too bad, has it? It's been we haven't talked over each other too much, have we?
It's been fun.
Very good.
Yeah. So you may see this more often, and I will do a quiz one day, Jamie.
Looking forward to it.
Are there any questions that you don't want to answer next week that I could throw in? Just anything.
Well, that'd be
any
daft me
topics that you're
putting
not
them
keen
forward,
on?
really, wouldn't it? Because that would be the first one again on your list.
Exactly.
So no.
You
I
don't
don't,
answer
you're right.
anyway, which is disappointing. No. He's just given up now. At least he used to be a bit game and he'd have a go at something.
call
Now
it
he just
game.
goes, no, I'm not answering that. Game. Anyway, thanks ever so much for watching. Keep your comments coming in. Keep your questions coming in. If you've got any specific questions that you might want Jamie to answer, because you've got to answer them if they're from... No, but seriously, Jamie, if they're from the audience, the fans, you've got to answer them then, haven't you?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
it's your
Gary,
duty.
yeah.
Yeah.
We can, this
Yeah.
breakfast
So any
in the morning
music
that
based
Darren's going to
questions.
buy you. I'm buying
Yeah.
you one as well. I'm going to talk to you in the morning. No, there's some serious words about the way you keep dropping me in things on these podcasts. Yeah.
Two breakfasts. Nice. Can you do breakfast, Daz, and Jamie, you can do lunch?
We'll do it.
Yeah. If anyone else wants to come along, you can get me a pint. Right. Tell me I'm crap. Anyway, it's been lovely. If you've got any comments, please put them in, other than just meh or something like that. That's not a comment. That's just an insult. And if you've got any questions for us, please put them in, and we'll all see you next week. And thanks very much for watching.
Cheers,
Goodbye.
guys.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Cheerio.
Cheers, guys.
Ta-da.
Bye.
Goodbye.